Hi guys, welcome back to a new video where we're going to be talking about Carrie Bradshaw and how she always seems to make herself enemies, or as I like to call it, frenemies. Alright, so the first couple episodes we see her shopping, doing her own thing, wanting to enjoy herself, and then she comes across someone who used to be her friend, and her name is Amelita. Now, Amelita is this beautiful, gorgeous brunette that is from, I believe it's from Europe. Now, she's telling her, hey, no, don't pay this for me, da-da-da, and she's like, no problem, my husband is rich, he's wealthy, and, she makes a certain joke to Carrie that I can't say on here, but, So she says that she really likes Amelita and thought she was fun, and the whole storyline is great up until, unfortunately, Carrie decides to not be friends with Amelita because she thinks that Amelita is a pros, which that's not always the case. Maybe Carrie just doesn't understand that Amelita just likes to travel and likes to have fun. And another situation with Carrie is that she had been in her apartment for so many years. This is the situation where she's in. After she breaks up with Aiden for I think it's the third time in a row after he tried to get engaged to her, she grows angry at Charlotte because Charlotte does not take the time to offer her money to pay for her apartment. And Carrie, being Carrie, is completely irrational, immature, doesn't take accountability for what she should be doing in general because she wants everybody else to pay for her or at least offer to pay for her when really Carrie's a grown-ass woman. She's 30-something years old. She should be able to handle her finances. And she needed to especially work on reining in her shopaholic habits. Now, as we all know about addiction or shopping addictions or so, most of the time, people who are like that are actually just craving that dopamine feel to everything. And she's definitely one of them because maybe in her childhood, she never had enough of that. And unfortunately, Big is actually one of those people that she grows addicted to over time because she craves the incessant attention that he throws on her, even though he's technically avoidant of her because he feels like she's too much. And unfortunately, like Charlotte always is brought into this type of situation, Charlotte sees them cheating and she tries to walk away. And Charlotte, absolutely does not take Carrie's words for anything. And she's like, listen, no, what you're doing is cheating. He's married. It's not okay. It's not right. So, a lot of the times when Carrie is doing some foolishness, basically goes through a revolution of being insecure about Natasha and Mr. Big. A lot of the times you also see throughout the show she also gets jealous of Charlotte because Charlotte is definitely Mr. Big's type, but Charlotte is also definitely not Mr. Big's type in regards that Charlotte has a lot of good, healthy self-esteem, self-worth, and everything. And when Carrie meets Mr. Big, she goes through a whirlwind of insecurities, especially regarding her affair with Mr. Big. In this scene, she has already slept with Mr. Big multiple times. At first, they were doing it at nice hotels, and then they went to the really cheap shit hotels, and finally, it has devolved into sleeping in Mr. Big's bed that he shares with Natasha, his wife. After their little, tango, she is eating Chinese instead of leaving the house like any semi-respectable person with any self-respect and dignity. And she kind of peeps her shit, like what Natasha likes, but she still prefers to think of her as beige and boring. Natasha comes home early. She sees her and tries to hide. She tries to leave the apartment. Unfortunately, she got the jacket. It makes a noise. Natasha happens to hear this and basically runs out. And Natasha tries to call her back in to confront her. Carrie, being Carrie, just runs away. She is scared for her life. She thinks Natasha is about to clock her one. Me personally, I would have if I was her. Unfortunately, Natasha falls down. Carrie takes her to the hospital. She tries to get in on the same seat aisle as Natasha, and Natasha wasn't having it. Carrie tries. Eventually, after some time, after they broke, Big breaks up with her, she goes to Natasha and wants to apologize about the whole affair. She's like, listen, I'm sorry that we got together, we cheated. And Natasha read her down for filth to the point that Carrie leaves and Natasha begins to enjoy her lunch with maybe her new boo or a friend. So that's pretty much the main issues that we see with Carrie. She also treats her friend as also a frenemy as well, which is very unfortunate because these two are the same sides to a coin in certain ways. Now, for example, Charlotte was with with Trey for a good long while, and even though Charlotte had cheated on him by kissing the gardener, luckily she took the time to take accountability, apologize to Trey, and did not do that anymore. Unfortunately, that does not go for Carrie as well. So pretty much what Carrie does, I think within the second or third season, she ends up going to therapy to deal with her issues concerning Mr. Big. She continuously talks about him to her friends. They get annoyed because they're like, hey, I can't handle you anymore. You need to go to therapy. She tries to make a joke about it. And her therapist just kind of wants to talk to her about everything that's going on, what's the issue. And I find this really interesting, but she actually takes the time to hold Carrie very accountable as well for her actions in a relationship. Because, like they always say, it takes two to tango. And that's pretty much in the case of Carrie and Mr. Big. As we learned throughout throughout these last couple of seasons, Mr. Big has had cheated on his ex-wives with someone who is unknown to Carrie, and he has cheated on his wife with Carrie. And so, at least for the most part, because he takes the time to take accountability for what he has done, because he has already been through this type of rodeo, unfortunately he finds himself paired with someone who does not take accountability for also their actions as well. As you guys know, she also says it was like bigger than her. It was like Niagara Falls, and that's not always the case. The very most that you can do for your partner or affair partner is take accountability. Side note, I am not advocating cheating or anything like that. I really am not. I'm just mentioning what the least or the most that these two awful characters can do for each other in the show. Now, as Carrie goes through her therapy first, and I think maybe a couple of therapy sessions that she could have greatly benefited from, the therapist just kind of goes through the question and she asks her, is this the first time that you ever dated someone who couldn't give you what you want? And really, that's a really good question because it kind of calls back into season 1, episode 1, where she honestly has to go through it. The first person that we see is Kurt, Mr. Big, Aiden, and eventually Burger, who is essentially herself, and then Aiden again, Petrovsky, Mr. Big again. The man, the myth, the legend. This to basically show that Carrie is self-centered, male-centered, insecure, and not ever counting her blessings that she has really, really good friends that want to be friends with her. And to learn her lesson that not all women are enemies.